Hello and welcome to the last video of my donkey travels. This will be a summary of what happened in the last about 2.5 months. So it's quite a lot and I won't be able to go deep into detail. But anyways, enjoy watching. It was mid of June when I left the old mill where I made my last break. And the nature was still green at this point, and also I felt lots of fresh and new energy inside of me, which I needed because I wanted to cross the mountains in the north of Malaga, and they are quite high, and I could also feel that the summer has finally arrived. So it was super hot, the temperatures were rising, and also there was not much civilization in this area, so I had to buy food always on stock to be safe. And then after a couple days I finally arrived at the lake close to El Chorro, and I decided to stay there for I think 2 nights, also because I met nice people there. From there on, I was following a long road which guided me through a national park, the Sierra de las Nieves, and there I saw lots of free living animals, and in general the nature was super impressive, like super crazy rock formations and endless views of hills and of little forests and trees. And in the end, the street went to Ronda, which was for me the first bigger city and also more touristic city. So I experienced for the first time how tourists react on the donkey and me. And yeah, I was speaking to lots of them and took many pictures with them. Back into nature, we were following the way of the Guadiaro River for a couple of days, and these days were definitely the most exhausting ones, mainly because of the heat. It was super hot at this time, so I was happy for some refreshments in the water, but also because we were making long distances at this time and my body was really getting to its limits, so I got a fever. I think also because of the lack of nutrition, so I did not had the best food all the time, and yeah, I was really low energy and I could not really move anymore. So we did a break for another 2 days until we could continue. It's always funny to watch how animals react when they see each other for the first time, and also how they interact. With the cows, Burro was super afraid in the beginning, but then he got quite used to them. And yeah, then there was this donkey girl. She was super horny and wanted Burro to fuck her, but she was just super weird and just spitting, and I'm glad that Burro was not that interested. And then the for me biggest disaster happened. A car drove over my guitar and smashed it. But life goes on, and only a few hours later I found myself on a kind of cowboy horse festival, and the people were calling me to join with the burro. And yeah, I was having a good time. They were drinking lots of beer. They were giving me lots of beer. But still I have to say that the Spanish temperament combined with animals and lots of alcohol is not the best idea. And only a few days later, I was already at this beautiful lake, which was the last time Sweetwater for me, because the next day I knew that I would be in Algeciras and finally see the ocean. The distance between Algeciras and Tarifa is actually only about 20 kilometers, but I wanted to go exactly next to the shoreline, and there were no trails at this point. So I had to turn around many times. I got lost lots of times, but therefore I had a beautiful view. And in the end, it took me, I think, 3 days until I arrived in Tarifa. But yeah, therefore I had the ocean next to me all the time, and also a perfect view on Morocco, which is only 15 kilometers away. And then, when I finally did arrive in Tarifa, I met a group of super nice Swedish and Danish people, and one of them was running after me to invite me for some beer. And then I joined them and had a super good time with them, and it was just exactly what I needed, like filling up my social batteries after being alone for quite a time. The next chapter of my travels were characterized by long and windy beaches, but also by no money, because I got robbed in Barbette. A guy took my wallet, and yeah, from that point on, I had nothing, like my credit card, my cash, my ID was all inside. And the only option I could think of to get money in Spain was PayPal, but I asked like 50 people and nobody used it, so obviously PayPal was not common in Spain. Yeah, but still I needed food, and so I started to ask in restaurants if they have any leftovers, in pizzerias, and they also had lots of stuff. And it was also a great experience because I was dependent on people I met, that they helped me, and it worked. So they were really, really nice and really helpful. This guy here I met 2 times. He was also hiking, and he spent me a whole meal. So yeah, I also felt a new level of freedom, kind of, because I had nothing, but I also had nothing to lose. And wherever I came, people were super friendly, and I never had to worry about anything. To get onto this boat, there was a lot of discussion necessary. First, the ferryman did not want to bring me over the river, because on the other side there was a national park, and normally it's not allowed to bring animals to this side of the river. But for me, the alternative would have been to walk 100-kilometer extra way, like the countryside, over Sevilla. And in Sevilla, they were more than 45 degrees at this time, so that was definitely not an option for me. So I was super happy that in the end, a police officer helped me to convince that ferryman to bring me over. And on the other side was just, I think, 50 kilometers of pure beach, and I didn't meet anybody. So it was completely nature and completely freedom. For passages like these, I always brought an extra canister of water with me for Burro, because obviously on the beach he can't find any sweet water, and also food was getting a problem because there was nothing growing. So I started that whenever I found something, I just picked a lot as storage and I took it with me, and then in bad times Burro still had at least something to eat. The next river crossing was complicated as well. When I just figured out everything with the ferryman and he let me on his boat, he even started the engine already, when I looked back to the beach and saw a police car coming. So apparently somebody must have called them, which wouldn't have been the first time, because it's not allowed to walk a donkey on public beaches. And these two officers were even more pissed because I wanted to cross the river to a national park, which is like super forbidden to walk there. So I actually saw myself already walking all the way back to Huelva. But luckily the ferryman could convince the police officers this time. And yeah, in the end they let me pass, and I'm super thankful for this ferryman because he saved me like loads of kilometers. And then there was only one last ferry to take, this time from Ayamonte in Spain to Santo Antonio in Portugal. So yeah, I finally made it to Portugal. In Portugal, I also wanted to walk as much as possible at the coastline, and the coast of the Algarve is known for its steep cliffs and crazy rock formations. So not the easiest ways to walk, but I was thankful that Buro and me already had a trustful connection, that he followed me nearly everywhere, and especially in parts like this it's super dangerous because he must stay behind me, and normally he started as soon as a part was dangerous, he just started running, and if he would run in a situation like this, he would just run over me. So super dangerous, but we managed to, yeah, get through all these passages without major problems. Also stairs was something impossible for him before, and yeah, water, of course. He really followed me through deep waters, which was a huge step out of his comfort zone. And then I met this friendly waving guy over there. His name is Billy, and from that day on he decided to join me on my trip until now. And yeah, we have a very good connection and became close friends by now. So we went the last steps together, and then finally after 3 months of walking and more than 1,000 kilometers distance, we arrived at the final destination, at the Barranco beach in Portugal. Arriving at the beach meant a huge release for me, and I guess for Buro as well. So we could finally relax and chill in the sand and do nothing. There were also friends coming and visiting. My family came as well, and they brought stuff to repair the guitar, which was also super nice. And then, after a few days, I had a ride to Almeria with a guy that I met there on the beach. And it was crazy that in only 8 hours we drove back all the way that took me 3 months before. And then on the next day, 8 hours again, this time with my own car, and lots of food for Buro. So it's crazy how the perception of distance and of time can change when you are traveling so slow. And yeah, then I had a donkey and the van at the Barranco beach, and I was super happy that I could finally cook again and sleep in my bed and everything. And Buro was all the time with us. He also created lots of magic, I would say. Like whenever we did a little trip or something, he was with us, and it was just super nice company, and people were super fascinated by him. So yeah, we had a great 1.5 months at the beach then, and we even convinced Buro to come inside of the car, and it was much easier than I thought, and he could even stand inside the car while I was driving, so we could take him for little trips as well. So we put a yoga mattress on the ground that he wouldn't slip, and a metal bar that he would not fall at the back or to the sides. And yeah, then it was also nice to travel with the donkey inside of the car. Yeah, in the end, it was almost half a year that this donkey was my close companion, and it was really an honor for me to get to know him, his character, and try to understand his personality. It was super interesting to watch how our relationship changed from the beginning, to see how we focused on each other more and more, and how we built trust on each other. But also on the other side, watch how his character traits sometimes made me super aggressive or angry, and also sad sometimes. But yeah, these were in this time the lessons that I needed from life, so I could really learn a lot from him. And that's why I was in total peace when the new owners of Burro came to pick him up. Of course, I was crying, but it didn't feel wrong because I knew that it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to leave Burro now into his new home. I knew it was a good place. I knew it were super good people. So, yeah, only for me this chapter was beautiful, but it was also beautiful that it came to an end now. And I'm incredibly grateful for the memories, and they will last forever.